Students, welcome you all on the behalf of RahulAnand tutorials. So as you know that I am RahulAnand and this is somewhat around my channel whose name is actually the RahulAnand tutorials. So now let's begin with the very interesting topics which are often being asked in terms of your need, often the aids. So these are literally belong from which of the chapters of your book. So these are belonging from the neural control and coordination. So now let's understand about these means what are actually the eyes. So when we are talking about the eyes, you have to understand the certain facts in it, such as what? So eye are actually the spherical shaped structure. Often you could say that eye are the optical organs playing important role to accommodate with what? To accommodate with reference to the visual receptors. Now, often these are particularly being localized where? So these eyes are actually being localized. Tell me. So these are particularly being localized into the socket of structure, which is known as what? So these are localized into the socket of structure, which are often known as the orbits. So you are very clear that we are having what? So we are having the different types of the composition with reference to our bones in term. We will be having the skull bone as well as the torso bone. In term of your skull, these are literally being coming under, means what? Your orbits. Now, often you will be having the nasal concha, often the temporal bone, the frontal bone, the parietal bone, as well as the occipital bone. So these are literally coming under what case? So these are coming under your skull case. Often in term you will be having the torso. In this you will be having the lumbar, sacrum, coccygeal, as well as what? The cervical thoracic region. Remember the particle arrangement in term we will be having 12 in term of the cervical, etc. As well as the coccygeal in term of what? As well as the coccygeal in term of 1 in number. So now, often you are having the three components with reference to your eyes. So when we are talking about the composition as well as the components of the eyes, so you will be having the three major components of the eyes. So these are actually what? So these are the sclera, then the choroid, then in the third you will be having the retina. Okay, so now let's understand about these in terms of the brief. So when we are talking about the sclera, so these are what? So these are the outermost layer of what? So these are the outermost layer. Now, often this will be particularly composed of what things? So this will be composed of the dense connective tissue. Now, in term we will be having what? In term we will be having we have dealt about the sclera. Then in term we will be having the choroid. So these are actually what? So this will be the middle layer. In the third, you will be having the retina case. So retina are what? The particular position in which what will be happening? The particular position or either the area in which the image formation will literally occur. So this will be coming under what case? So this will be coming under your, tell me, the retina case. Often it is being further divided in terms of the three broad categories. So these are the ganglion cells, then here in the bipolar cells, then in the third you will be having the photoreceptor cells. So these are actually organized in order to perform the vital course of action as well as the work. So when we are talking about this, means what are actually the ganglion cells? So it will be the innermost cell. Nothing to make you explain about what are actually the innermost cell. When we are talking about the ganglion cells, so it will be what? So it will be actually the here mean the innermost cell. With reference, when we are talking about the here mean the bipolar, it will be what? So it will be the mid layer or either the middle cells. With reference, in the third you are having the what? The photoreceptor cells. So photoreceptor cells literally means what? It will be something related with reference to the light or either the photon energy. So you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the photon? So photon are actually what? So photon are the packet of energy. Literally, when we are comparing the case in terms of these, meaning in terms of the photon energy. Thus, your photoreceptor cells are often being further divided in terms of the two broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the rod cells, then what? Then the cone cells. When we are talking about what are actually the rod cells, so these are actually what? So these are actually sensitive toward the dim light. So you are very clear about that. Means what are actually the dim light? Means particularly the accommodation or that kind of the light which are particularly visual in terms of the low emission with reference to the photon energy. Mean in that light, the condition will be somewhat just like similar to the night condition. Often, and when we are talking about the cone cells, so cone cells are actually what? So these are particularly responsive as well as demonstrated under what? So these are demonstrated under the here, mean the daylight vision. Often these are sensitive toward what? So these are sensitive toward the colorful light. Now, so let's proceed with reference to the another important parts with reference to your eyelids. So we are having the different and specialized region in it performing the vital course of the action. So these are actually what? So these are the cornea. Then what? Then the ciliary muscles. Often we will be having the iris. Then what? Then we will be having the lens. Often, tell me. Often we will be having these. Means the eyeball as well as the eyelids, often the retina. Often you will be having the certain parts in it, such as what? Such as the here mean the vitreous chamber, often the aqueous chamber, as well as what? As well as the optical nerve. So these are particularly being specialized in order to perform the vital course of action. So now let's understand about this in terms of quite bit. Now let's understand about this means what are actually the cornea. So cornea are what? So cornea are the anterior transparent portion of the eye, which is having what? So which is having the scarcity of the blood vessels. Often when we are talking about this, meaning of the nutrition footprint of what? Of your cornea. So these are particularly being accompanied with reference to what? With reference by the help of the nearby lymph. So you are very clear about that, means what are actually the lymph. We have understood about this in terms of the brief. So these are actually having the lymphoid organs. Often in this we will be having the specialized type of the lymphatic system. Often these are responsible for what? So these are responsible for the coordinates of the immune system, and you are very clear about that. What are actually the immune system, playing an important role to charge as well as boost what? To charge as well as boost our particular body, as well as particularly responsive in order to attain or just opposite towards what? Just opposite in terms of with the cross point of the antigen. And antigens are what? So these are the foreign agents. Often when we are talking about the lymph, so these are being divided in terms of the two broad categories, the primary lymphoid organs, the secondary lymphoid organs. So we'll be having the here with the spalene, often the tonsils. So these are coming under the secondary lymphoid organs. So we'll be understanding about that case in terms of the later. Now let's understand about this, means what are actually the cornea. So cornea are what? So cornea are the thin membrane space through which the light enters. Often when we are talking about the cornea, you have to understand the certain facts in it, such as what? So these are quite with what? Bulged outward. Often these are particularly coming in terms of the forward direction. In order for what? In order for focusing the light rays in term with reference to the help of the accommodation of the lens. So you are very clear about what are actually the lens. So we'll be understanding about it now. So what are actually the lens? So these are actually the crystals like structure. As well, when we are talking about this mainly in term of the ciliary body, so it will be having the certain parts in it, such as what? Such as the ciliary muscles, often the ciliary body, often the blood vessels. Now let's understand about this, means what are actually the iris. So iris are what? So iris are the visual colored portion of the eye. Often these iris are known as what? Often these iris are known as the dark muscular diaphragm, playing an important role in terms of what? Playing an important role in terms for controlling the size of the pupil. So you are very clear about that. What are actually the pupils? So find it on the board here. Now let's understand about these, means what are actually the lens. So lens are what? So lens are the transparent, biconvex, often the elastic, as well as the crystalline structure. Often you could find here on the board here. Now, often in this case, what will be happening? Often in this case, we will be having the subsidiary ligament, playing important role for what? Playing important role to attach the lens into the certain specialized portion. Now, so when we are talking about these, means what are actually the ligaments? So ligament are what? So ligament are actually the fused state with reference to the bones as well as the muscles. Now, so you understood what are actually the ligament? These are generally being found in terms of the attachment portion with reference to your bone. Generally, in terms of what? In terms of your torso bone, such as what? Such as the here with the patella. Often in terms of the tibia and fibula, you could get this kind of the ligament portion. Mean in terms of what? Mean in terms of the position where there will be the attachment like cases. Now, so when we are talking about these case of the one, so when we are talking about this case in terms of the lens, so in this case the image which are actually being formed, so this will be actually what? So this will be real and inverted. Now, so on the lens these images are particularly being formed, so these are actually what? So these are actually inverted, literally particularly being transformed with reference on the hand of the retina portion. So what are actually the retina? You are very clear about that. So the position where the image will be formed, it is known as the retina of a lens. Often your lens are particularly being divided in terms of the three broad categories. So these are actually what? So these are the ganglion, then the bipolar cells, often the photoreceptor cells. Very clear what are actually these. So often your photoreceptors will be divided in terms of the two broad categories, such as what? Such as the rod cells, often the cone cells. Now, so when we are talking about these cases in terms of what? In terms of the lens. So you will be often having the specialized part in it, such as what? Such as the eyelids. So eyelids are playing an important role to divide what? So your eyelids are playing an important role to divide your here with the lens into the two broad categories. So these are actually what? Often your retina will be divided into the three broad categories. So these are what? So these are the ganglion. Then the bipolar. Often what? Often the photoreceptor cells. So you are very clear about that. Often when we are talking about these cases in terms of the lens, we will be having the certain facts in it, such as what? Such as here, mean the ganglion cells, as well as the bipolar cells, as well as what? As well as the photoreceptor cells. So you are very clear about that. Now, so when we are talking about the case of the lens, you have to understand the certain facts in it, such as what? Such as in these you will be having what? The eyeball playing important role in order for what? In order for dividing the here, mean the lens in terms of the two broad categories. So you could find it on the board here. So these are actually what? So these are the anterior aqueous, as well as what? As well as the posterior vitreous chamber. Posterior vitreous chamber. You could often find the specialized portion as well as the region here. Now let's understand about this. Means what are actually the vitreous humor. So these are actually what? So these are the specialized space with reference to what? With reference in terms of your lens as well as the retina. Often these are resembling the structure with reference to what? So these are resembling the structure with reference to your jelly fluid structure. Find here. Playing an important role in order for what? So this playing an important role in order to provide the support in terms of the spherical structure with reference to your eye component. So you could often find here on the board the vitreous humor as well as the vitreous chamber. Find here. And in the last we are having what? So in the last we are having the optical nerve. So these are playing what? So these are playing an important role to transmit the impulses toward what? To the brains actually. So this is somewhat the condition when we are talking about what are actually the eye. Often what are the components of the eye? In terms we have dealt about what? So we have dealt about the choroid, the sclera, often the retina. Often we have dealt about the another parts in it, such as what? Such as the choroid. Often what? Often the cornea. Often what are actually the lens, as well as these, mean in terms of the iris, as well as what are actually the here, mean in terms of the retina. Often you have understood certain parts, such as what are actually the vitreous humor. Often we have understood about the quite bit introduction, what are actually the anterior aqueous, as well as the posterior vitreous chamber, as well as the quite bit introduction, what are actually the eyeball. Often what are the certain parts, such as what are actually the iris. Often the what are actually the optical nerve. So this is somewhat the condition when we are talking about the different components as well as the different parts in terms of your eyes. So you could often write these. So if you like the work with reference to the education, often the lectures, so you could often subscribe, like, as well as comment below in the text. Thus I'll be knowing that what concept actually you are hungry for, or what haven't you understood or either got. So very thank you with reference to what? With reference to the RahulAnand tutorials. So very thank you.